In today's episode, we have Daniel Anderson, a South African rugby player turned competitive grappler. He shares what it's like to come from a team sport to an individual sport such as Jiu-Jitsu. Learn about his journey from South Africa to Vietnam. Welcome to the Saigon Saga, where we cover combat sports. Subscribe right now. On this episode, we have Daniel Anderson from South Africa, a rugby player, one of 5 brothers, right?
When you say I'm a rugby player, South Africans are thinking, if they were listening, they'll be like, this guy's not a rugby player, because that would imply like I'm playing for South Africa or professionally in South Africa, because it's super intense.
Yeah.
And like
So they'd say you're someone who plays rugby or has previously played rugby.
I played it growing up. But I think that's the context why when you roll with someone for the first time who's crossed over from that sport, why they seem tough is because it's just insanely competitive over there. And people are like insanely passionate about it. There's a really cool documentary I'm trying to get Zach to actually watch, if you guys have a VPN, on the national team who just won the World Cup. And it's like behind the scenes, you get the backstories, cool editing and stuff. But the rest of the world gets to see why, like, we are so passionate about rugby, because it's like the happiness of the country.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like as intense politics are, as in the United States. Wow. That's how intense we are.
I believe
about rugby. Yeah,
I've never met a South African that was not tough. I really haven't. Like, it's crazy. But can you share a little bit about how you got into jiu-jitsu and what your transition from rugby to jiu-jitsu was, and just some thoughts?
So when I grew up, I started playing rugby when I was like 4. I had 4 older brothers. I was the youngest, so babysitting was like playing what we call touch rugby together. That's all I wanted to do. At school, I just played sport like with my other friends. And then somewhere in university, I realized I wasn't going to play for the Springboks and had to have like another plan, right? And I got injured. And for fitness training, we used to go to this MMA gym, but for grappling to get fit. And I tried it out and I really liked it. So it's like 2017 or 16, around then. And I liked that gym, and I just started going there once I stopped playing rugby. And the thing is, I did boxing and the jiu-jitsu, but like the boxing was more fun. You're just hitting the bags and stuff. And I couldn't always make the jiu-jitsu training, but when I did, I got beaten up so badly that I was like, I need to do this. Like, this is hard. And then when we came here to Vietnam, I knew I liked it. And I found a gym online. There weren't many. The guy's name was Eric. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I think it's Cohen or something. And at that gym is where I met Corey. It was in I was living in District 10. It was called Saigon Libre. Yeah. This is, 2018. So it was, I think, quite different then, less developed. And Corey dropped in a few times. That coach had to go back to the States. And one of my friends was a judo black belt. He kept teaching like a club. And now he's got that gym in near the airport. I think called Submission Grappling D3, if I get the name right. And just between him, that's how I met Corey and popped in wherever Corey was.
All right.
Then met Zach and you guys. That's kind of the route. Did one competition in 2019 when I was a white belt. So I've only competed against white belts, and then the one black belt.
Wow. So what was it like your first competition? Did you get nervous leading up to the match? What was that like?
Yes, very nervous. I remember there were loads of people there, and then lining up, we had to do a weigh-in, and it was like 75 kilos around then. Wow. And the guy I was going to go against, I think he might have been South African too. And he had this like long braid, tattoos, And I remember seeing him thinking like, what am I doing? Like I started to get pretty nervous and I was getting scared. But then from playing rugby, I'd experienced that before, where I was usually the smallest guy. So I knew it was just my mind like scaring me. And then when I did that match and yeah, I got him in an armbar. And then afterwards I had like, well, what is the term when you're like switched on and not scared anymore? Then it was fine. But the first match was pretty.
Did you go on to have a couple matches that day?
Yes, I won my bracket. So I think I had like 4. I was the only guy who had like an extra match in that division. So I won that. And then I forgot I'd signed up for absolute. Well, I think it's like white belts, absolute. So I can't remember how they did it. And then I got like my name called, and did a couple matches, and eventually a big wrestler pinned me down.
So only
and that's
lost
how I got
one
knocked
match.
out.
6 matches.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, there are a couple that day. Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
That was cool. And then didn't do much jiu-jitsu in between. It was
So
COVID.
you
Went
tore
home.
through the white belt brackets. Then you thought, I'm ready for, a high level black belt. Let's get this going.
3rd degree black belt,
3rd degree
90
black belt.
kilos.
So they-
Skip all the collars.
Yeah. So
Skip all the bowl.
what happened was I think I was being annoying at training or something, and then my coach lied to me and was like, "Yeah, it's for these beginners. They haven't competed before. We're just getting into competition." So I was like, "I haven't competed in a while." Sure. And then a week later or whatever, he's like,
Who
"Okay, so
was
this
that guy?
weekend we
Who
got
is your
you a
coach?
black belt." That is
Well, this is what happened. So it is the Saigon Super Fights is to create opportunities for people who hasn't competed before, but a lot of people wanted to join. And Q actually sent me a message saying, "Hey, we got a black belt coming in the country who wants a match, 90 kilos." And then my mind ran through everybody who had registered so far, because there was a point where we just had a bunch of names and we hadn't matched anyone up yet. And the first person that came to my mind was you. I was like, if there's anyone who can go up against this guy, it's Daniel. And a lot.
You didn't think about yourself.
Because I was already going against Corey. So, I mean, I would go against him. I mean, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
I mean, I have.
You're
I mean, what do I have to lose? But I knew it was going to be a good match. I got a lot of critique. People were like, "You're putting a blue belt against a black belt? Are you crazy?" And I just knew, man. I knew it was going to be a decent match. It was a decent match. One of the best matches. Saigon Super Fights.
Yeah, one of the top 11 matches of the day. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I'm playing. I was excited to do it because you don't often get a chance to compete against a black
He's also
belt,
my.
Yeah, and you had
I
nothing to
was
lose.
stoked, actually.
If he submits you in the first 30
Yeah.
seconds, everyone thought that would happen. But yeah, you hung in there for a while, man. And it's good exchanges going back and forth, and you got the crowd involved. That's for sure.
Thanks, man. I was worried about potentially losing like
It was
knee or an
crazy
elbow,
because Daniel
but he was
wanted
nice.
black belt rules. I said, "You don't have to do black belt rules." He said, "I want black belt rules. I want all heel hooks, everything." So props to you, man.
Yeah, I just wanted the real experience because even afterwards, I immediately knew like what I needed to work on straight away. That's why those experiences are so good. I didn't want to get like a half experience.
Yeah,
or like,
for sure. Yeah. So what do you think about, you've seen a lot of the Saigon grappling community over the last 6 years. What are your thoughts on it? And how has it grown? What do you think it needs?
We were talking about it before. It was so different when I started. I obviously didn't know everyone, but I think my first coach's gym was probably one of the bigger gyms with some good training. And we did one like friendly getting the gyms together, which is what I thought the super fight was going to be. Sit in a circle and say, okay, you guys go. But that's why when I got to the super fights, I was like so impressed when I saw like the branding and all of those things. I hadn't been on social media, so I didn't see that you guys had been promoting it. So when I got there, then it kind of clicked that this is what the community needs, or this is what's going to sort of accelerate the development of the sport. Because there were always people who are keen on jiu-jitsu, but people are nice and friendly. And through the content, like now everyone gets connected together through the regular events. Younger guys who want to maybe go pro or whatever, like get to actually try it out. And then businesses who want to like sell, say, power bites to those people.
Yeah, that's right.
Can come there too. So I think it just needs more of those events. That's not me just saying that. That's we were talking about like what I did before. My mindset or my perspective for like, say, trying to raise money for a company to an investor. There's always like a growth plan, and you're trying to see what's going to get traction or sales or whatever. And that's why I see like the content kind of connects everyone, because when there are sponsors like Power Bites or someone putting their logo on a podcast, like allows you guys to do it more, then more athletes get videos on them, and then the people in the country watch these videos. Now that's a bigger audience for the sponsors to address or whatever. Then young kids see that, they're like, I want to do that. It gets into the schools. And then it's like in Canada or the US, any professional sport where it goes like from professional all the way down to like schools, and there are a bunch of businesses that are connected to physios and things like that. That's kind of what I see happening with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Thankfully, we've gotten a lot of traction because of the support from the community, from all the gyms, just a lot of people who helped us along the way. You know, without them, this podcast would be possible. But yeah, speaking of power bites, let's break these things open.
I have yet to have the mint chocolate chip, but
the mint chocolate chip, they are so good. You guys better have some first, because if once I get my hands on them, like
Zachary left a bag in the fridge the other time. I told you what was going to happen, and then he comes back. Well, do you have any of those power bites left?
Once you open it, once you open these power bites, like they're gone. Literally, they're gone.
I understand why they make health food taste like usually not that good. That way, you know, it lasts a while. You don't just run through it, but
it's so I haven't had mint before that.
Props to Rucking Brian.
Rucking Brian
for creating these things. Brian, I know. Here's the thing. This power bite right here was made by Brian's hands in his kitchen. Literally. That's great. That's how it's crazy. You know that Brian himself made this from homemade ingredients and didn't add any preservatives or sugar or anything like that. That's how you know that you're getting real power in these power bites.
So Zach, are you going 5 a.m. Sunday morning?
I'll be in Malaysia.
Same question. Are you going to be 5 a.m. in Malaysia?
No.
Walking around before your ADCC comp?
Oh no.
Where's your loyalty, dude?
I'm gonna try to get 8 hours, man. Dude, I went to bed at 9:30 last. I've been going to bed early. No condensed milk this month. No bakeries this month. No Coca-Cola this month. No eating late at night this month. I gave up all those vices in preparation for Malaysia this weekend.
Those poor guys.
We'll see. Get a mean version. You never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to show up. You know. But what do y'all think about this chocolate chip? Or
amazing.
Yeah.
I think you guys also got to get Brian on here. Chatting to him earlier, really, really interesting guy.
Yeah.
I think
someone who's just tried his hand at grappling recently, and his son's been at it for a while now. You trained with him for a while.
Brian's actually surprisingly good at grappling. He's just a natural. He did judo in the past, but he just kind of has the natural like feeling of grappling, you know. We're gonna get him a Saigon super fight. He said he would do super fight.
Okay.
He can go up against my business partner Jason, who's supposed to. Jason doesn't know this yet. Jason doesn't know this yet, but I think it would be a good match. I really do.
Has this guy Jason trained at all?
One practice.
Okay.
2 years
and
ago.
Brian has one
He
practice.
did,
and
he
some
did judo 30 years ago. But I think
So are you
both.
thinking co-main, main event? How's this gonna go?
I think it's going to be I think it'd be one of the more interesting
Schoolyard
matches.
rules?
But the cool thing is, I think both of them have a really good attitude. You know what I mean? So they're like both older guys. Jason's 47. Rucking Brian is like 51. So
Yeah. When it comes to the super fights, like we're only looking for guys with a good attitude.
yeah,
If you have a
that's
bad
it.
attitude,
Yeah,
get
you're
out
right.
of here. Yeah. Don't even put your name in.
And sign up.
Yeah, so it's like it's all about having fun, getting some matches in, knock it out in 2-3 hours max. Very good matchups, you know, and some cool, like, good commentary.
As much as we can, we're just trying to feed blue belts to third-degree black belts. That's the plan. The problem is
Get
we
you
don't
the
have enough of these
views.
third-degree black belts around. We got lots of blue belts, lots
But
of food.
I think maybe one thing could be like one ridiculous match. I did the ridiculous match with Corey. Like, what is that going against a E match, like against a black belt? You know what I mean? Like anything ridiculous. I'm interested. You said something the other day about some ideas. As we all know, in order for strategically grow the grappling community here in Vietnam, here in Saigon, we got to have a good kids program. Something that I'm not really that familiar with. What are your thoughts on growing a kids program here in Vietnam?
I haven't thought enough about it when I said that idea to you. I was kind of fast forwarding into like a developed sport, right? From my point of view, Vietnam doesn't have like a clear like nationwide sport that everyone's passionate about. Like football, they have those things, but when I grew up, and I don't know if it was the same for you guys, we'd play against the other schools like frequently, like at least once a week, and there was a league and stuff like that. So if I was looking at schools getting involved or a youth program, it might be clubs, teaching them basics and then getting them used to competing, because there's value in that besides getting better at jiu-jitsu, but like your confidence and stuff like that, and getting some sort of league or something that's in aligned with school or whatever, and the different age groups, so that by the time someone's kind of finishing school, they're quite developed. Maybe the super fights are developed too, and they can pursue a professional career, or they can go overseas and they take this trade or this hobby with them, and that's how they meet people, and it's a positive thing in their life.
Future
Like all of us.
CJI contenders.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. You're fueling the future of Saigon super fights.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to have more entertaining fights, you got to have them training earlier. It's like, say, the NFL. People make money off the NFL as much as, like, we love watching it, but their brand's there, right? So because of that, college level gets more professional. Their sponsors there even. And then because of that, you're scouting.
Yeah, the high school and the younger kids in the club, the level is higher. There's more put into it.
Yeah. That's kind of where I was coming from. But how to implement one, I have no idea. It's something like rugby is in the culture, so we love it. And the thing is to make it fun. So, like, you're not pressurizing kids. It's got to be like insanely fun. The funner something is, the more they buy into it and do it all the time, and then they get sued. But as soon as you have like bad coaches there, like pressurizing kids and forcing them, they don't enjoy and they don't come back.
Two key influences that I've noticed in Saigon as far as the spread of grappling for the youth and kids is one, Alex Junk at Team Shark, and the other one is Arcane Grappling down in D7. But they just did what they called a summer gathering over the weekend, and they held it at Gizdio, and it was a kids competition, a summer gathering, right? And it was really exciting, and I think 91 kids signed up. So they had like 2 mats, they had referees. It was a really cool event where the community came together and made this happen. So I think those are 2 key influences here in Saigon for the growth of kids jiu-jitsu and competition. And just like Robert Eagle said, we need more events to spread jiu-jitsu. This is what brings us closer together. What do you think, Adam?
Events are good, but events that people are excited about, because not everybody wants to compete. So it's good to have these kind of events where people are just happy to show up, and like maybe they train as a hobbyist, but they're actually excited to go watch their buddies compete. They're actually excited to watch matches where they might not be associated with either of the competitors or even know any of the competitors, but still be able to go watch it, have a good time. And you did see a lot of this at the kids comp. There is some excitement, especially from the parents. Um, this is a little bit of a tricky time because you can see the parents getting a little bit excited for their kid. They want to see their child do well. And in grappling especially, like the kids are always going to have a good time, but seeing the parents really buy in, it can go one or two ways. Like that can be a positive thing, or you can start to see the children getting pressured a little bit too much. I didn't see any of that over this tournament, but as sports do progress and do get more serious, like you're talking about, NFL, college, then the high school level, and then these feeder programs, that's when you get these parents that are really pressuring the kids, and that's when they can lose love of the sport. So keeping it fun, keeping it light, and doing that through these competitions where everyone comes together as a team with their buddies. Maybe they even compete against some of their friends, but keeping it light, keeping it fun, because at the end of the day, like after that tournament, you're going to go back train again, and the training room should be somewhere where you do feel like you're going to go there and have fun every time. Even as an adult, like I like to have the same feeling. I've played competitive sports growing up all my life, and a lot of the time I did not want to go to practice. There are aspects of practice you like, whatever sport you're playing, but you live for the games. And now as an adult going to training, striking, grappling, whatever it be, I truly feel like I go there and I get to enjoy myself. And that's why it's so easy to go to the training room every single day. So whatever we can do to really push this, to keep the kids happy and involved and just like excited to show up to the training room every day, that's how you're going to build a good future.
That's a knowledge bomb.
Yeah, it seems
right
to me,
there.
just by judging by your hat, that you identify as a grappler.
Half the time. The other half I identify as getting beat up by Lucas.
But tell us about your hat. That's something new.
This
What is that?
Came from the chief, the officer of chief.
What? Chief of what?
Great taste.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm trying to keep up with him. Look sharp in here. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely certainly sets the standard for, attire in jiu-jitsu as jiu-jitsu's only.
Not just grappling though, lifestyle apparel as well.
Someone asked me the other day, is this hair never perfect? So Daniel, tell us about not only as far as like the kids programs and things like that. I think the kids program for me is a little bit more difficult to grow and understand. We'll seek knowledge from Arcane and Shark and things like that, our partners. But what are some other things that you'd like to see in the grappling community here in Saigon that would kind of make it maybe a little more exciting, maybe to kind of help grow it? What are your ideas?
I mean, for me, I just want to be able to get to training more often, more than 3 times a week. I mean, not to sound like I'm just repeating the same thing, but more events, more super fights.
We can dress Zach up in so many different costumes.
Oh my God. Whatever it takes.
Just to keep the people's attention in between. Some funny videos of Zach might be good. Craig Jones just does those random videos. We need some more of those on the podcast.
After some of our sessions, you always share some really good knowledge. You might say knowledge bombs after our sessions in terms of mindset and things. What are some of those things like right after a hard practice that you feel that you could share with some of our viewers?
You should have probably beaten me up before this, so I'd get that dopamine.
I don't think I can beat you up anymore. I think those days are over, Daniel.
So some of the things we spoke about recently is, I guess, just mindset. There's a lot of ways mindset can go, but the one like maybe you're not the best at jiu-jitsu. Maybe you're a blue belt and you're going against someone who's better. You're still competing. So there's like a competitor mindset, I guess. And some simple thing in like rugby, we hold the ball with two hands because you don't want to telegraph. You don't want to show what you're doing. So we spoke about this the other day. Like if you're really like showing you're tired after you've done like a big scramble or a shot, that could give the other guy a bit of like a boost because he's like, oh, he's tired. I'm going to go a bit harder. But if you're just like, you don't show anything and the other person's trying their best and they're feeling really tired, even if you are, but you don't show it might just get them to, I don't know, maybe give up a bit faster, whatever, doubt themselves. So I guess that was one of the things we spoke about.
Yeah, I see this every single day in the training room. Zach trying to pass guard, just getting more and more fatigued. And it's visually, you can just see him getting broken down.
I mean, I think
it just gives me confidence while I'm lying on my back.
I think the root problem is that I just don't know jiu-jitsu, and that's what it comes down to.
We've already established this, though.
That's true.
But yeah, the mental games, like the game within a game, especially in coming from rugby, a team sport, and a tough sport by all means, but then you put yourself in a grappling situation where maybe you have training partners, maybe you have a coach in your corner, but it's you and the other guy, and a lot of mental warfare in there. You don't want to give him any sort of edge. Do you want to talk a little bit about the transition of going from team sport to individual competition?
I think it goes like both ways with the team sport, or for any sport. There's one element where like we were talking about the other guy, but you can kind of trick yourself. So even if you're super nervous before a rugby match or a grappling match, when you sort of like change your body language and you like try to get in the zone or whatever, it can be kind of a positive feedback and you actually start feeling more confident. The epic thing about a team sport is like there's this weird combination of all of that. So South Africa, we call it geese. It's like spelled like geese, and that's why I want you guys to watch this documentary, because it's like it could translate to spirit, but it's like it's hard to beat a team with geese. So when everyone's like bringing each other up, they believe in themselves, they believe in the team. Very hard to beat those people because they never give up, right? Like no matter what you do, you could be dominating them. Rugby games 80 minutes for 79 minutes, right? And you start to fatigue because you're like, we're better than these guys, but like you just can't get them to stop. They're relentless or whatever. And you can lose that game in the last minute, and not always the best team on paper wins. It's the team on the day, right? And that translates to grappling. Like maybe you're not as good as the other person, but you can make them tired and maybe they make a mistake and maybe that one's in points and you might be lucky. So if you can get yourself into the competitor mindset, focus on that, it can tilt things in your favor. And then it crosses over to life, I guess. When things get hard, you lose your job or whatever. If you spend too much time thinking about like how screwed you are, it's not going to move you forward. But if you like know you've done hard things and you can change your situation, it's going to get you to better situations sooner, I think.
What are some of the things from rugby that you brought to jiu-jitsu that's really helped your progress?
There's techniques, but just like when it comes to mindset, just being like just trying to fucking be tough, not pretending you're tough, but like if you, I don't know, like I've got a black eye today, I don't know what you did to me yesterday, but I didn't feel it or whatever. Like not letting other things get to you, like what's it called, external things, like you forgot your favorite key or whatever, your lucky belt. Like I don't think that's for any sport, right? Those sort of things coming from one sport to another. But rugby, that's the relevance of that is like there are a bunch of different positions. You don't always get to do what you want to do. Sometimes you got to do what's best for the team, and today you play in another position and you got to suck it up and not worry about what the ref does. Those sort of things help when you come to training, because you just focus on training and getting better. And then in terms of the skills, well, there's, I guess, athleticism. Like you grow up sprinting, pushing, jumping, doing contact, being comfortable with that helps with wrestling. Because we tackle each other, it helps when someone's coming to take you down. So the first submission I learned or started to get people with, and we were all like white belts, was the guillotine, because I could stand up straight and just let the person who didn't know wrestling either dive for my legs and then get hold of the head. But the body position and I guess the athleticism, being fit and managing your energy, is something that I think helped.
So directly translate to like takedowns.
Takedowns, and I guess like scrambling and like powering through situations.
When I think of rugby or American football, is like a guy has a tackle on you, or he has your leg, but you just keep going. You don't accept going down, because you see this. I think less in rugby than American football, but a guy gets tackled, he's near the sideline, he'll just opt to go out. Versus in rugby, you always want the extra yards, or you look to move the ball again. With my limited knowledge of the sport, but in grappling, the same.
Brilliant.
And in jiu-jitsu, you see a willingness to accept bottom position, but the mindness of always being able to extend the scramble, always looking to get back up, or just never accepting these kind of positions. That comes down, it's a mental thing of being willing to keep going and willing to put in the work. And a lot of the times the guy might not be at your level, he might be better, but if he doesn't continue to scramble, it's kind of just in a lot of these positions, whoever stops moving first is going to be the one to lose the position.
I think that's a very good point. I didn't even think of that. I spend my whole life doing it, but you need to go forward. So even if someone hangs on to you, you've always got to try power through. So that certainly helps. And I think just coming back to the mindset, you made me think of when you're younger, guys grow at different times, right? Some of my friends were fully grown men when they were like 14 with beards, and they could sprint 100 meters in like under 10 seconds or whatever. So when you're playing against other teams, it's kind of like being at different levels in jiu-jitsu. Like, the one team's this bunch of like bigger and stronger guys. But you can't just accept like, oh, they're going to win, or like accept this person trains more than me, like I expect him to beat me. You kind of have to go in and be like, well, this person's, they got to prove they're the better team. Like, we're not going to like fucking let up any little thing, like not even
it's like the never surrender mindset,
just like that.
Like, Zach, you got ADCC coming.
Exactly.
Everyone, they've got your name written on the mirror.
I know.
Like, who is this clown that refuses to go to the pro division?
Dude, I'm going to pro after Malaysia.
That's what you told me after Thailand.
I didn't win. I got second.
In absolute? Mm-hmm.
But no matter what happens this time, I will go pro.
All right.
I will go pro.
You were telling me something the other day about, I think you were teaching us a lesson about not to like shoot without setting it up or something. You're like in the last minute of some final, and you're kind of
I was
showboating or something.
What happened was
what happened?
was in the finals in Colombia, and I was up 5-0 or 6-0. 20 seconds left. Feeling great. And I was in like the adult division. I was going against like a 24-year-old, and he was more strong and buffer than me, and like a fitness coach. So I was feeling pretty good about myself. Here I'd give something to the crowd. So I'm just like, I'll just go ahead and do a nice double leg. Just looking at the clock, 20 seconds. Just went in for a double leg and had the head on the outside, right? And he just guillotined, went straight back, closed guard, pulling. And by the time we're there, it's about 5 or 6 seconds left, and I am deep in the guillotine, and it is extremely uncomfortable. And the only thing I heard, the first thought was, okay, all I have to do is not tap for 5 seconds, and I'll win this tournament, right? And then I hear my teammates, they're saying 5, and then like 5 minutes went by, and then 4, and then like another 10 minutes went by, 3. I was like, is this ever? And I actually put my hands out. I stuck my hands out like this to make sure that the referee knew I did not tap, right? Because it's so subjective, maybe maybe he's concerned for my safety, and maybe I'm squirming around, and maybe it seems like a tap, and I didn't want that to happen. So I learned my lesson big time on that. It did not tap.
So you didn't tap?
Did not tap.
Okay.
I actually have the video somewhere. It's on Facebook somewhere. But it's anytime, it works for some people. It works for Gordon Ryan. It works for Nicky Rod to really bring yourself up and be overly confident for matches. Anytime I'm overconfident or I say anything, it's where I act or I showboat does not work well for me.
I'm always trying to get him to say things, make him sound overconfident.
That's what drives me. It's always been like that from
Yeah.
wrestling young. I've always been the underdog. And then that is what drives me to perform. So I have to make up for it in other ways. Often it's mindset. So, but if I tell myself or others, oh, I'm going to win, or suggest that I will win, or suggest I have any kind of advantage, now I'm taking power away from myself. And I can't afford to do that. You can't afford to do that when you're going against someone who has twice as much experience as you and half your age. Can't afford it. So I got to give myself every advantage because why? I don't really know jiu-jitsu, guys. I think power bite's probably my best. It might be my only shot at winning gold. Absolute.
What about watermelon?
Watermelon and grapes. I tell you what, that's water. Like I really think that watermelon and grapes and that kind of fruit between matches is the most powerful thing you can do.
Watermelon and grapes.
It sounds crazy.
That would give me like 5 seconds of energy.
I mean, like if you have a match every 10 to 15 minutes, like you're just eating it.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't eat bread. You don't want anything heavy. Just sugar and just enough to just replenish. I mean, I'm not a scientist. Yeah, based on my experience.
Do you drink any like things to rehydrate? Because I don't think Zach ever does it, and I just noticed we sweated like 10 liters, and he's just getting water.
Probably the best recovery beverage, at least for local drinks, is the fish sauce. Sugar, salt, just
guzzle straight
put
fish
that into you,
sauce.
and you're good to go.
Have you had a shot of that?
That's my daily
before?
regimen.
Yeah, coconuts are good.
But
Those
yeah,
are good.
especially in the heat here, you need to be cognizant of that. Like if you have one training, a couple hours later, if you're not properly fueled, you will be exhausted. The heat is no joke. That is absolutely for sure. Is that what holds you back at the class there, Zach? It's just the heat?
In addition to many other
This guy,
things.
it's one excuse one week, another excuse the next week. More condensed milk, more power bites, more fish sauce. Fish sauce between rounds, dude.
Imagine this.
You won't have a problem creating space.
Imagine if, like, okay, you go to ADCC, you got an eight-man bracket, but from the time you start to the time you finish, you can only drink pure condensed milk. But the prize is $10,000. Imagine that.
This is your.
Or
We just have to
freak
put
man.
down some kind of tarp or plastic sheeting.
You can choose between condensed milk or fish sauce.
Do you get ice?
No.
All right, Zach, what's your answer?
I'm asking you guys.
You sick puppy.
Can't mix it.
You
with
could do a
anything?
blend. Condensed milk and fish sauce.
Oh,
Oh my God.
I feel like the fish sauce, the smell is more. I mean, obviously it tastes good because we eat it in various dishes. It's the smell. So I feel like maybe if you could.
I think that
Just
whatever
knock
you
it
choose,
back.
you're never going to have that for the rest of your life.
And neither will your opponent.
It's a good way.
You better finish those matches quick. What you can do, like you can drink water up until you step on the mat for the first time. So stay hydrated. Finish your matches in 2 minutes or less each. You got 3 matches. You're good to go, man. So
That's
what's
not
that
even
mean?
a challenge.
I mean, most people.
So for your special Saigon Super Fights match,
No,
you just do something
okay,
like that.
Outside
like
in
you
the
go to-
grass.
Zach's got to drink a cup of condensed milk, and then you could.
Man, it'd be cleanup. Might be a little. Oh
for the
man.
final match. Yeah.
We are sponsored by Vinamilk.
Yeah. Good sponsor. It could turn out well for them if
Yeah.
it goes
But
viral.
anyway, Daniel, back to you. What anything that you'd like to share, share to the world? Any philosophical views that you've been keeping inside, just waiting for the opportunity to have the spotlight, the limelight? You're in the limelight right now.
I have a lot of thoughts. They usually come out after training. The reason is because usually, actually, when I'm in the elevator going up, I just have a little shot of coffee. And I feel like the shot of caffeine and then the intense training session. And then afterwards, I'm like, feel excellent in terms of just feeling happy and stuff. And then I just start jibber jabbing. And but my friend and I were joking about this because Zach and I were talking about like mental health or whatever. But my friend who I do the LinkedIn videos with, we were joking about making this video like get high and do sales, as in like not high on drugs or weed, but like that, like coffee and like good exercise, and then you're ready to talk to people and like reach out, and you're at least for myself.
Usually after training, I'm just lying on the mat in a puddle.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe
That's
I'm not
pretty
going hard
good,
enough. But then yeah, so that's why we start, talking so much crap. Me, you listening, me talking. But I mean, on that, I think also forget that joke. But the mental health benefits, it's just health really, because your brain's in your body, right? So it's body's you move your body, you give it the right stuff, and now you're feeling excellent. So for me, it's just a healthy sort of thing to do. And I guess because my mental health is better, I'm more likely to be outgoing and reach out to a new person. But when I'm not, because I'm not going to training and maybe I'm not sleeping right or whatever, then I've got more anxiety. I don't want to come over to this professional podcast setup because I'm too nervous, right? But if I'm in training, I'm healthier, then I'm more likely to do those things, and your life's better because you meet people and whatnot. So jiu-jitsu and mental health was, to answer your question, those are one of the ideas we were talking about. For me personally, it's very, even my wife knows. So if I don't go to training for a long time because our life is complicated over a stretch, she'll be like, you got to go. Because even her experience of being around me, I'm better to be around. Not that I'm horrible. I'm just like, I can handle more of life with a smile on my face when I'm going to training, because training's difficult. And I don't know what you guys think about that, but like, I mean, getting a bunch of hugs, slap hands, you hug. Everyone's welcoming. It's hard, but it's fun as hell, and it's a routine. And that's my philosophical idea to share, is that jiu-jitsu for me, and I think probably many guys or girls, like, can be a great mental health tool, or something to, like, keep you where you want to be. What do you
think
guys
about
think
mentally
about
challenged people like myself?
I think the more you train, the more you have a chance, Zach. We got to get you 4 or 5 practices a day.
I really
and
appreciate.
we might have a shot.
I really appreciate you, Matt.
Zach, every day I show up in the training room, I'm just looking to give you a big hug.
I appreciate that.
What did you say the other day? You should have smarter people around you all the time.
Yeah,
And
you
he's
want to
like,
surround
easy
yourself
for
in a
me.
room full of smarter people.
They always say just have smart people around you. I'm like, that's all the time, no matter where I
just
go.
Need,
like,
just need people. Anyone will
just
do.
Anyone will do. Put me in a 5th grade classroom. I'm still checking the box. Yeah. Oh man. Let's ask Daniel some hard questions. Daniel was nervous. We could tell you were nervous.
Oh, he
coming
looks
here.
nervous right now.
And the only reason, like, you
I
think
feel
these
better now.
lights are for video quality? They're not. They're really
Just
just to make you more nervous, right?
What I figured out is that if podcast doesn't work, or it's like your side thing, but there's a bunch of adult filming going on, and
It's
yeah,
a multi-purpose
that's what's
studio.
really good.
We're just trying to make rent.
In fact,
Yeah.
I'm starting to recognize
We
this
got to pay
place.
for the podcast somehow. You know what I mean? How do you think we keep the Saigon
Yeah.
super fights free for everyone?
So what submission are you most often catching Zach in? I know you're catching him a bunch of times.
He's got me with the rear naked a couple times. He has. If you
On the couch or in the training room?
I think got me yesterday. Once he's got got it locked in, there's no getting out of it. There's no going back. You better tap if you care anything about your spinal health. You know what I mean? But here's one question. What is a deeply held belief that you once had that you've recently changed your mind about? Maybe it could be about jiu-jitsu, it could be about life, it could be about pretty much anything.
That's a deep question. I didn't know you were so deep.
I'll give you a simple example. For me, when I first started jiu-jitsu, I was like, the best thing you can do is get to black belt as fast as possible. Now I believe the exact opposite.
Was it deep questions? I'll give you
Yeah.
a deep answer. So, I mean, deeply held belief that I've sort of relaxed on, but maybe it was subconscious. But like I've done all this like studying, like I was telling you, I did the CFA program, and I was like working towards this route. And once so I passed the exams, and once you get the required experience, then you get like can register, and you get a little designation after your name. So it'll be like Daniel Anderson CFA. If I get 2 more years of experience and I pay them money, then you can do that sort of thing. But it's very specialized, and I was like going that route, and because it's an investment, I was like the belief of like this is what I need to do, and I need to keep going this way. And then more recently come into training and doing all the things we've been talking about, smashing coffees and training, that I just realized like I don't have to do that. I relaxed a little bit on that like in life, you don't know exactly what the outcome's going to look like. You know, you could be sitting in a podcast with 2 other adult film producers. And so I just relaxed on that. And then when I did that, started to just see a lot more opportunities and ways for me, myself, to apply to things of work or occupation, whatever. That's when I started to see you guys using these little videos, but seeing it as like a very like all the different stakeholders and seeing it as, you know, a way to actually pull people together and develop something. And because of these tools like CapCut and the other ones, Descript, people like us can start to make videos. And then it really light bulbed me, and I saw like on LinkedIn, there are all these founders. Like, I don't know if you have friends or you've worked with people as clients maybe, with these killer businesses they've started up. But there's no video of them talking like, hey, this is why I started this idea, because this is how I saw the problem, and this is how I think we can solve it. And like, this is me captured in a piece of content. How did you guys, question for both of you. Honest one. Funniest jiu-jitsu story.
Probably Zach trying to pass guard.
Most
every
bizarre
day
story.
He comes with the same strategy, and he really, really believes it's gonna work. And every day I get the same result. I get to watch him
Today's the day.
mentally depleted.
Yeah.
When he goes through his passing sequence, if you even can call it that.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work, but he expects it to work every single day. And then nothing changes. He'll say
really
that he's
bad.
made improvements, or he's like, oh, I've got this.
This is why I can't sleep at night, actually.
But I think a lot of it really it dwells to the fact of, you know, what time does the noon class start, Zach? Do you know what time noon is? He comes in at 12:55, 5 minutes before open mat, and then you know, how is he supposed to learn anything from a professor?
Hey, yeah. Yesterday I was on time,
And
and
did
you
it
were
help
late.
you? Well, I thought, okay, if I come out without a
Here I am
then I'll
feeling
let you
bad
smash
about
me.
being
No.
about being late. Meanwhile,
I'll try to do better. Okay, I'll try to do better. What about you? Any funny?
actually, I've got a great one. I wasn't there, but this is just funny. But we had another South African friend, and this is like 2 years ago, and great guy, like classic, played rugby, loved drinking on the weekends. So he'd always have these big weekends and a little bit tired on a Monday, I guess. So hard to get him to like training. And because of that, lifestyle injuries come. And then he went with my other South African friend to training. I wasn't there, but I heard about the story because they just heard like some screaming or something. And the guys, my friend's like rolling around in pain. And he's like, I've lost my ball or something.
my
Like I
gosh.
popped a ball. And yeah, this was his like first time coming to jiu-jitsu, but he was like being too, like he's resisting too much. And I don't think no one did anything to him, but he's just going a bit hard, I guess. What do they call it? Like spazzing out or something. And so he went to the bathroom with my other friend, South African guy who took him there, who used to train with. And he was like, you got to check it or whatever. So our other friend had to like feel his balls and stuff and be like, no, I think they're
Wow, what a
okay.
friend.
Like, it's still there. Yeah. You had to like, you can imagine how worried the guy is if he
Yeah.
thinks he's lost one. Like and he's asking the other guy, you need to
Yeah.
check it for me. And they like take him to hospital, and end of the day, he's like pulled a
Oh,
groin
man.
muscle.
But still, one of those stories that
Yeah.
like, yeah, you might be there, but at the end of the day, when you tell it later, you're like, oh, one of my friends, you know.
It was me. I
Can't
felt the
imagine why
balls.
people think our sport's gay. I mean, I have no idea. You know.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, my wife makes fun of it or whatever. Like,
You
'cause
see exactly
see
what's going on.
guys in weird positions.
This is the reality.
Yeah. And then I'm like, it looks like that, but like feel someone like pin your face to the side with their shoulder. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't feel nice. I don't want you to feel that ever. It's
Yeah.
a horrible feeling, actually. I don't know if you've experienced any guys, but had some kind of friends and they like don't know what jiu-jitsu is. So they're like, it's not fighting still. That like old school approach where like fighting is just like boxing, not even like, they're not even like it's Muay Thai and kickboxing. They're like, no, it's just like, the hand fighting and like you don't worry about whatever else. And I'm like, dude, like if you feel it, it's not nice. Especially the first time. Maybe a question for you guys. Did you have that like, I don't know if you knew what jiu-jitsu was before, but my first time, guys were like putting me in a twister and being like, hey coach, look. Like it was a horror.
Oh my god.
Look, I
Yeah,
can
break
when I
his
started in
spine.
South Africa. Yeah, so it was an hour
Wow.
and a half class. I thought it was an hour. So we did like after 45 minutes, we did like rolls or positional sparring. So I went like super hard, blew my load, just trying to survive. And then it's like, oh, now there's 30 minutes of like that open mat, but it's so full. So there were like, I don't know, more than 10 pairs, and you just go in a circle. And it was just me going from like at least 3 submissions each time. So I must have been submitted like 30 times.
Yeah.
It was
It's like when you first
brutal.
started this
Yeah.
or wrestling, I remember thinking I just felt like I was in a tornado.
But that feeling was a good one for me because actually I was like in my 20s. So I was like playing rugby all the
You're the
time. And I
man,
went there,
yeah.
I was like, I'm tough. I'm strong.
And then
like
they just
I'm
take
going
the
to be
ice
good
cream
at
scoop
this.
and start
And
scooping the
it-
ego out of you.
Oh
Yeah.
my word. It was, very good for me. And I feel like good for people actually to go through that.
Try to get in a few humbling rounds in a day if I can. So that means I go with Pablo, I go with Corey, Vince if he's around. Raymond is always one to dish out some of that.
Yeah.
Okay, here's last question. Okay, in 30 seconds, can you tell us what your new business is? All right, let's go.
Can do it in less, I hope. Helping people grow their businesses with LinkedIn.
Wow, great.
That's it. So how do you grow your business? You can grow revenue, so your customers on there, if it's B2B. You can grow your podcast through partnerships, sponsors, they're on there too. You can grow it with capital because there are investors there too. And you can grow your profit margins because when you build a brand, your marketing costs start to go down per customer, right? So aligning people's LinkedIn strategy up with their business strategy, that is what I'm doing, and content's a little bit of that.
So if someone has a good product, they have a good company, that they're very small and they don't know how to get funding, they don't know how to get sponsorships, are you the person to go to?
If you're asking if they're like a small scale podcast getting going, then yes. Yes. Anyone. The thing is, I realized it, and you guys were part of it. Like, that's why I was talking so much about what you guys were doing, because it made sense to me, right? Seeing how you pull together a community, even if you're an intern somewhere, you've got an idea of what career you want. You can use LinkedIn now for your future employer. So you just have a little video of your perspectives on the industry or whatever and what you hope to do, and you feature it on your profile, and you do your banner nicely, your cover image, so it's like a hook, and you start engaging and inviting with those people to funnel them there. And over time, you've got like this portfolio and stuff, and it can help you get a job. So like, it's kind of just how to use the LinkedIn platform for what it's now made for.
That's great. I'm sure a lot of our viewers be interested in some of your services, and I feel that you have a sincere effort to spread good things and make a positive impact.
Thank both of you.